Hey there everybody, welcome back to my studio for another acrylic pouring video. Today I'm doing another Dutch pour but with a twist. I don't know if you can tell, but these are dragonfly wings. A couple months ago I was out on a run and I found a dead dragonfly on the road and I picked it up and carried it home because that's just who I am. But the wings were still in perfect condition. And I've done a few mixed media Dutch pours before, so I wanted to show you how that is done. So we're going to be adding a dragonfly to this Dutch pour. Let me move those out of the way and show you my colors. So I want to do a flower, like coming from one corner with a stem coming down. That's the idea. So I've got sort of pink, purple, magenta, yellow as the flower. And then I've got this turquoise and some spring green as my stem coming down, and I've got white as my base coat and flow paint. So this is a Dutch pour. I'm probably going to be doing most of the blowing of the flower with my mouth or with a straw, just to shape it in a small way since this is such a small canvas. But everything is mixed thin. All the paint is mixed thin so it flows very easily off of the stick, and you can watch my video for how to mix paint for a Dutch pour here. So let's go ahead and get started. Got a little lump of paint here, which you don't want to have in your painting. You want to get that out of your base coat if you can, so that you don't have it messing up your finished surface when the painting is dry. Okay, base coat is down. I think I'm gonna make the flower going this direction. So I'm gonna make my puddle here. Let's do some Phthalo Red and some purple Pansy. And then some metallic magenta. And then just a few drops of white so that the flower is not super dark. And then a little bit of yellow also on the top. I don't want tons of yellow. I think it could make the flower look kind of strange, but I want a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to put out some flow paint here. This will help let the paint move across the canvas. So now I'm going to blow it over my colors and then blow out the flower. There's one petal. Okay, this actually works fine because now I'll use my mouth to shape it. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with how that flower looks. The yellow clashes just a little bit, but not too much. Let me see if I can torch for some cells. This petal is sort of missing an edge, so I'm just going to take my little palette knife and dip it in the metallic magenta here and try to add a bit of an edge there so it doesn't look like the petal is actually disintegrating. Okay, nice. It's an abstract flower. It's not the flowerest of flower petals that has ever existed, but it's okay. So now I'm gonna add a little bit of this turquoise. Down here to the bottom, and then a little bit of this spring green on top, just to keep the colors kind of vibrant and fun. And now I'm going to, let me just start with a straw and see what happens when I blow, but I think I'm going to end up using a palette knife to kind of shape this. Okay, that looks nice. I'm just going to take a little bit, just dip the palette knife into my green and add just a little bit coming up into the flower itself to make it look more like the stem is actually connecting. Now I'll... I don't think I have to add the spring green there. Fade that out of there. Okay, I'm happy with that stem. It definitely looks much more like a flower now that it has a stem. Just covering up a little bit of green that's on the edge that I don't want anymore. The stem does continue down over the side of the edge, but more green blew down over the side than I ended up keeping, so it was showing through the white. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so the next step is exciting. This is the dragonfly. I thought about having the dragonfly sitting on the flower. The problem with that is the wings would have to overlap the color. And I think it would look nicer if the dragonfly was totally in this open negative space. So let me just torch and make sure all the air bubbles are gone before I add the wings. Okay, no more tweaking. I'm done with tweaking. I like the stem, I like the flower. So I'm moving all this stuff to the side. Now I've got a pair of forceps here. You could use tweezers. I really like forceps because you don't have to squeeze. You know, you can use gentle pressure and it's fine. Okay, so I've gotten the wings lined up in the way that they would be on the dragonfly. Now I just have to decide, is he going to be, you know, is this going to be his body? Or is his body going to be this way? Flying away from the flower or flying? I think he's going to be flying sort of in, not away. In towards the flower. Okay, so if I was doing butterfly wings in a painting, I would paint the backs of the wings with white paint so that the wings themselves wouldn't go all transparent after I apply the spray varnish. For the dragonfly wings, they're clear anyway. So I'm just going to set them into the paint and you'll be able to see the lacing of the wings, even though the wings themselves are transparent. Oh, that is so cool. So cool! Alright, second bottom wing. Be really careful not to get your forceps into the paint. Ah! Oh dear. So my wing got stuck. Trying this again. Usually picking a wing up and then resetting it down is a really bad idea. But in this case, it seems to have worked. So you just gently press until it contacts the paint. And as the paint dries, the wing will just sort of dry right down onto the canvas with it. Okay, so I'm leaving a little bit of space here for the dragonfly's body. You want them to overlap maybe just a tiny bit, but not much. Oh, that's perfect spacing here with the petal. I thought it might touch the petal, but it's not. Okay, that's looking amazing. That is perfect. It's always a bit tricky getting it on, so I'm really happy with that. The body gets painted on after the base coat has dried, so that's fine. There's nothing else that needs to happen there. Over here, my petal is about to go off the edge, so I'm going to see if I can blow that back on. Okay, I got a little white onto the petal. I can touch that up with a brush once it's dry. The main thing is I didn't want that perfect petal to be then all of a sudden stretched over the side. Okay, let me give you a close-up because this is finished. Well, I should have said it's finished for now. So here's the stem and the flower petals, nice and flowing. And then here are the dragonfly wings. So those are going to look amazing when the paint is dry. And I will show you the next step, which is using a brush to paint on the dragonfly head and body. All right, I'll see you for that part. Okay, so my painting is dry. I'll just show you really quick. It dried very well. The yellow got lost somewhat in the flower. It just kind of went muddy except for one tiny little speck of it there in the middle. So maybe it would have been better if I used gold instead of yellow. I still love how the whole flower turned out. So there's the dragonfly. You can see, maybe, how the texture is still there even though it is in the paint. Okay, so I'm doing my brush touch-ups, which is pretty much just painting the body on this dragonfly. But there's also one spot here on this flower petal where it was about to go over the edge and I blew it back up and some white got in the pink. So I'm just going to touch that up with a brush. So I've got some of my saved colors from the painting. I just use these little plastic condiment cups. So I just label them on the top if I've got leftover paint. That way I know, okay, so this was mixed for a Dutch pour. And I know, I know what's in it. If it has silicone, what's the pouring medium, that kind of thing. But that way you can use it for signing your paintings, you can use it for touch-ups. So I'm just going to touch up this pink. Okay, so I think that's all that took. It's just a little line of pink there to neaten that up. Wiping off my brush. It would be best if you could run and wash it off right away, but wiping it off is the next best thing. I don't think I need to do any other touch-ups to the flower. My brush painting skills are not quite good enough to add, like stamens or whatever the flower part that has the pollen on it. So I'm not going to add anything like that, but if you happen to be artistically inclined, that would be a great thing to add. But I am going to do the dragonfly body. So I made this little, because I'm using my phone to film instead of to use as a reference, I drew myself a little reference dragonfly body shape. So I'm going to have a black body with some yellow striping on it and metallic green eyes. In nature, dragonflies, they're just super cool looking. A lot of them are very metallic or have very brightly colored bodies. So I thought about doing a bright blue or green one, but the flower here is so bright that I'm going to stick with something just a little bit more subtle. So black body with some yellow striping, and then metallic green eyes. They have such an elegant body shape. Like it slims down and then it comes back out again a bit at the tail. Okay, wonderful. Also, I got a tiny bit of white paint. There must have been holes in the wings. So on the wings themselves, it got just a tiny bit of white. So I'm just going to put a little bit of black paint on, which isn't quite the right color actually. So then I'll take some of that away. Just so the wings do not look distracting. Okay, time for those metallic green eyes. Okay, those are looking good. And then finishing out the black details on the face. the texture of the canvas sometimes makes it hard to make perfectly smooth lines. That's looking pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, so I have to let the black paint dry before I put the yellow on the top. So I will do that and come back in a few minutes when the black paint has dried enough, and then I will add the yellow. Okay, so the black paint on the dragonfly body is dry, and I'm ready to add the yellow spots. So I've just got one of these little paint trays, and I have some yellow, and then I wasn't sure if I wanted more of a yellowish green, so I mixed that up, but I think plain yellow is what I'm going to want, but I have a couple different shades of the green just in case. I like those yellow spots on the back of the tail. Now I'm going to paint some little yellow stripes up the middle of the abdomen. Okay, I do think that I'm going to use some of this yellowish green on the body itself to kind of blend the yellow that's on the back with the green of the eyes. I think that'll look striking. Okay, I really like that. I'm gonna add, I think, just a touch of yellow up in the front where like the mouth would be. Yeah, okay, so I'm loving this dragonfly. It looks so interesting with the added details on the body and the metallic eyes. So I don't know if you can see the shimmer there. Yeah, there it is. So there's how you make a nice, interesting dragonfly body. So look how cool that looks. Ah, nice flower with real wings and a beautiful dragonfly body. Thanks so much for watching as I did this tutorial on how to do a mixed media acrylic pour with insect wings in it. I hope you'll come back to my channel and watch some of my other videos. Yeah, so thanks, and I will see you next time.